Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Octopunk Showcase 2024. Oh my gosh, I have so much to catch up on with our hype train that is currently on level 4. Goodness. I want to shout out Lady Onto for the 31-month resubscription. Hi, Warlock for 53 months. Dom Larry's our lovely mod for 46 months. B for 24 months. Congratulations on 2 years. Pickalily for 37 months. Super Silly Pants for 45 months. Warden Mages for 47 months. Eccentric Draft for 56 months. That is coming up on years, G. That's almost 5 years. We're going to talk about 5 years later. Brittany for 25 months. Mindless Somber for 23 months, almost 2 years. Green Dragon for 28 months. Timmy Silver for 32 months. And Octo Mom for 44, although also 32 years. And thank you, Will, for all of the gift subs as well. Hype train level 4 achieved. Let's just keep it going. I have a lot to share with you today. It's the Octopunk Showcase. It's one of our biggest streams of the year. Also, I see Austin saying hi, Michelle, in the chat. He decided to ask me about the Lehman trilogy, which is a play I went to last night, literally right before this, and I'm just like, no, I can't answer that right now. I have to go stream. I can't talk about the Lehman trilogy. I have work to do. But it was an interesting play, I will say. And if you are local, you can go see Michael Smallwood and company in it for one more weekend, I believe, this weekend and next weekend. But yeah, we have such sights to show you today. Lots of new announcements, as well as more information on some stuff that has been in the works for a while. We've got the Lazzo cast announcement. If you didn't know, we're making a Lazzo short film. That is happening, and I have a full cast rundown today. The release date for Livescreamers, when it's coming out for Indiegogo, as well as when it's coming out to the public. Our information on our 5-year Patreon patch, that's going to be a fun reveal. Amos says, yes, the Lehman trilogy. I wish I could see Michael playing a German dude. Oh, they didn't even try with the German accents. They were just straight up themselves. But it worked. It was a very well staged show for sure. Also, some new stuff coming to YouTube, and the trailer, as well as the release dates of the Redo trilogy, which is our remaster and re-edit of the first 3 shorts that I wrote and directed, as an adult anyway. We don't count the Blair Toaster project. So let's get right into it. So Livescreamers. This has been a project that about 2 years ago, almost down to the day, we crowdfunded on Indiegogo, and y'all helped us raise $27,000-ish on Indiegogo, in addition to many of y'all who also donated as executive producers and became investors. So this has been 2 years in the making. It's been on the festival circuit. Also want to shout out Nevermore Film Festival. If you want to see the film and you're in North Carolina, we'll be screening in Raleigh on February 24th and 25th, I believe. At Nevermore Film Festival, 2 screenings. Me, MJ, and Anna will be there. Smallwood might be there. And also MJ has been nominated for Best Supporting Performance, which is super, super cool as well. I'm so glad that they finally got recognition for their incredible work as Dice. So that's our next upcoming screening of the film. If you're in North Carolina, want to see it in person, you can drive to Raleigh. But if you've been waiting with bated breath to take it home for yourselves and have a Blu-ray copy or see it on VOD, the time has come for that announcement. So I'm very happy to reveal that Livescreamers is coming home for Indiegogo, folks, in mid-March. If you got a Blu-ray through Indiegogo, those will be shipping in mid-March. The Blu-ray for all regions will be available for purchase on May 6, 2024, although if you are at Atomicon in Charleston, I will be selling them in person on the 4th and the 5th. So if you want to be the first in the world to buy a Blu-ray of Livescreamers outside of Indiegogo, you'll have to buy one from me in person at Atomicon at our Octopunk booth. You can even meet Jumping Wolf, who will be there signing autographs if you would like. And then digital VOD will be available for the United States, for sure. Possibly other territories, we'll just have to see. I would say the UK is likely Germany and Japan possibly, but I don't have German and Japanese subtitles, so that might be a snag in that plan. And Canada might also be a possibility as well in May. But digital VOD for America coming in May 2024 as well. That's going to be Amazon purchase for sure. Maybe some other storefronts like Microsoft still in development and trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to do there. But the idea is that Blu-ray and VOD are going to be a pretty simultaneous launch. I would love for it also to be on May 6th, but sometimes we're not allowed to sort of set our own release dates. So yeah, it's not that far now, not that much longer a wait, like 3 months from now until a public release. The Blu-rays will be available on the Etsy store as well as probably Amazon. I think I'm going to try to do like an Amazon storefront for them as well. You might be able to get like Prime shipping or something. We'll see. But I'm trying to expand out. This is a full self-distribution, unlike Livescream, which I did have a distributor, so I have a lot more control over where it goes and how to make sure that it gets in the hands of the folks who want to see it. And if you're kind of sitting over here like, well, I don't live in, maybe a predominantly English-speaking country. I don't live in America or Canada or Australia or UK, or, I don't really want to spend $20 in shipping for a Blu-ray. Just stay tuned, because I also do have an answer for how international folks can watch the film on digital. So here is our 5-year patch for Patreon. 5 years is such a special time, and purple is our definite home color for Octopunk. So this is the first purple one I've done, and there's also something very special about this patch. It is made with glow-in-the-dark thread. So anybody who's celebrating a 5-year anniversary of Patreon tenure this year can look forward to getting this in the mail. It'll begin shipping in April, because that is the 5-year anniversary of our Patreon. And it's like, I have them here. You can see them sort of in person, although I'm under purple light, so it looks like it's black and white. You can't really see the purple. I've tried to get them to glow in the dark, but I haven't like laid them out in the sun long enough for them to see. They've just sort of been under this ambient LED light that I don't think actually absorbs. But I took it in the bathroom and it's like, I could kind of see it glowing, and they confirmed that it's glow in the dark thread. So I don't know how strong the glow is, but the intent is there, and hopefully if you lay it out in the sun enough, you can get some really good lumens on here. But I thought that was neat, because 5 years is a long time, and it is really fascinating that we have been able to stay together for 5 whole years and keep doing this. Nev says, how long do they need to be charged? Dude, I don't know. Probably a minute. It's probably more about the light quality than it is about how long. Because I think Imo says, Iggy can watch you in the dark. Yeah. No, yeah. Iggy can watch you with his glow-in-the-dark sunglasses. So that's fun. And if you are, if you're not celebrating a 5-year this year, just stick around, and I will continue to send out the previous years for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, and 6 months. So hopefully, if you've been with Patreon for a while, you'll still be celebrating some sort of anniversary this year and be picking up your requisite membership anniversary patch. These are really fun to send. And as always, they are iron-on. So just iron them on to whatever you choose and they will stick. Oh, and thank you, Ninja Noodles, for 51 months. Although Nev says happy 51 years. 51 years we've been doing this. We've gone through all the glow-in-the-dark colors by this point. We've got Iggy's old, but hasn't aged a day. It feels like 51 years. I have 51 Iggy's on me, probably, which you can get in the Redbubble store if you're so inclined. You can also get a backpack in this pattern. It's quite cute. All right, so on to the next. That's all I'll be announcing for Patreon today. Normally, I would be announcing what we have coming up this month on Patreon. I'm kind of going to breeze past that a little bit because I wanted to focus on the larger things we have coming in 2024. But I will say that we have our usual 2 live streams a month for behind-the-scenes stuff, looking at Lazzo and the Blu-ray development for Livescreamers. We also will have our usual group call for the $25 patrons. Some lots Lazzo updates for $1 patrons, I think. I have a lot of like concept art and stuff that I can share that our students have been working on, so should probably focus on sharing some news and updates about the artistic process for Lazzo. And what am I forgetting? Oh yes, our autograph of the month is going to be one of the cast members of Lazzo. I'm not sure yet, but it will definitely be one of the people I am about to introduce. So I'm super happy to announce that we have 5 actors aboard for Lazzo. It is going to be such a fun time. Now, for those who don't know, Lazzo is an animated short that's going to be captured with motion capture, body and face, using MetaHuman Animator and Unreal Engine, as well as the mocap volume at Trident Technical College. This was funded by the SC Indie Grant, so I got a grant from this for the state. And we're also going to be partnering with Neil Newbon as performance capture director. And I've been having a lot of really good meetings with both him and our other department heads, like MJ Slide as our first AD, and Rachel Summers, your pal, for our cinematography, as well as a couple new faces too. Everything's coming along nicely. We're going to be shooting next month, and we have our first rehearsal this weekend with the following cast. Now, as is probably obvious, you can expect that Lizard King JJ Schaefer to return as Lazzo. He's very, very excited, and I'm very excited to have him back. He's 5 years older, but it still fits just like a glove, this character. And the version of Lazzo that's in the movie is a little bit different. He's a little bit older. He's maybe a little bit more grounded. But me and the concept artist, Philip Ziegler, have been talking a lot about Lazzo Blue, that specific shade of teal that his boa was in Detroit Evolution. We try to incorporate that color into basically every costume that he wears in the movie. Emma says, JJ's playing Lazzo. I am shocked. I mean, look, when I first pitched this movie, I also, because I thought they might make us go SAG, I was also like, well, it could be Bex Taylor Klaus if it really needed to be a famous person. So there were a couple other names that might have been thrown around, even though JJ's likeness probably would have persevered as Lazzo. But yeah, I'm very glad that it is JJ, because in my mind there is no one else who could play him. And some of these other character names you may recognize, such as our co-lead, Taylor. And this is Maxine Elway, who has partnered with me on Fallout Sanctuary as Glory and did a really great job on that, which hopefully you'll see one day. I'm just going to straight up say I don't have any Fallout Sanctuary news today, but I've still been working on it a little in the background, and Maxine did great in that show, and I'm really happy to have them back in a voice acting and full body performance role as Taylor. I knew pretty immediately when Maxine did a callback with JJ that they had great chemistry and that they were going to work really, really well together in selling this beautiful couple that is the emotional core of this cyberpunk Charleston story. I'm very, very happy to finally get to work with Langley Cornwell, who's a local actress who I've known for many, many years. Langley is phenomenal. She's done a lot of work, and I've just never had a role fit for her before. But when she auditioned as the role we're calling The Stranger, I knew I had to work with her. And she's super excited about the mocap. She's such a nerd for it. She's really, really excited to learn in the volume. And you'll just have to check the movie out and see what this role is all about. Here's another familiar character for those of you who've read Detroit Absolution. Shivam Patel, who is a local theater actor and works a lot with Michael Smallwood at Pure Theater, is playing Vamp. And this one was a really, really fun role to cast as well. Vamp went through a few different iterations. He's very campy. He's kind of over the top, But I think Shivam brings this beautiful, like, John Wick villain energy to the character where, yeah, he's a little campy and a little goofy, but he also is terrifying. And he can be really, really sinister as well. So really excited to work with him, particularly with his theater training, because I've been told that translates really, really well to motion capture. And I will say that him and the next actor, when they tried on their mocap suits and came out of the bathroom, they were like, we feel like Power Rangers. We feel so cool. And that other actor is Brandon Alston, who you might recognize from What a Beautiful Wedding. He did a really, really great job in that film, and you know, we were introduced to him as just a 19-year-old kid in that movie. Now he's 22, about to graduate from college, has a bunch of theater experience under his belt, and is a hell of a guy. And he's playing basically all of the additional characters in the film. So with mocap, you don't have to have a 1-to-1 ratio of, you know, characters. You can have kind of an extra person fill in for all of the supporting cast of the film, because they will all look different in animation. So really excited to bring Brandon back and work with him again. And that is our cast. And you can follow most of them on Instagram. I know Brandon is Birthday Boy Brandon on Instagram. Maxine Love is Maxine. And then I think Langley is just Langley Cornwell on Instagram as well. So definitely check them out. You can go to my following list on Instagram if you haven't already. I'll also be cross-posting this announcement to Instagram and probably tagging them on it. So really, really excited to work with that cast. Welcome to all new people. I agree, Timmy. It was also really imperative for me to maybe branch out a bit and work with a couple new faces that I haven't gotten to work with before. I had a lot of familiar faces audition for me. A lot of people gave me really good auditions. But ultimately, we branched out a bit. And even though there are a couple of people who I've kind of like worked with in the periphery before, I've never worked with Maxine in person before, so that's going to be really fun. And I mean, Maxine is just like one of the most talented actors I've ever seen. Maxine is a person you give direction to half-heartedly, not even sure if it'll work. And then Maxine just takes it to 110% and gives you something you didn't even know you wanted. Michael Smallwood forever in the chat, taking a break from Persona 3 Reload to say hi to the punks. Hey, I was pimping out Lehman Trilogy earlier. Good play. And actually, it's really fitting that Michael Smallwood is in the chat just now because of what I am announcing next. So I asked Michael about this last night, literally last night. I was like, hey, people ask me all the time about What a Beautiful Wedding and when is it gonna come to the public? Because it's been a while. It's been like a year and a half since the Patreon release. And, you know, we've kind of been waiting in the wings, seeing if we can get it on Alter, seeing if we can get it in some sort of syndication or distribution. And that hasn't really panned out yet. We haven't really heard anything concrete back. And those are also non-exclusive deals, so it wouldn't fuck us if we shared it with you guys. So we went ahead and agreed that it's about time to cordially invite you to the YouTube premiere of What a Beautiful Wedding, Sunday, February 25th. At 12 p.m. Eastern. I will actually be at Nevermore Film Festival during this. I'm going to have to remember to pre-upload and pre-schedule this premiere. But I'm sure if not me, I hope Michael will maybe be in the chat during the premiere to answer any questions as the writer, director, and lead of this film. Really, really excited to finally share this with everybody. Michael in the chat. Oh, hey, look at that. That's cool. Yeah. I'm really glad to finally share this one. I know that, like I said, people ask about it literally all the time. When is it going to be public? So really excited to share this and be able to amplify Michael's work even more, because I still think this is probably the best short that's ever come out of Octopunk, and it's not even mine. So really, really proud of this work. I'm probably going to be doing a couple cosmetic things to the sound too. I might do a little bit of enhancements and stuff with tools that I didn't have a year and a half ago to work on it as the post professional. Michael says Michelle spoke to me about this last night after Lehman, so my memory of that conversation is hazy. Yeah, he wasn't drunk. He had just done 3 hours on stage. He was just drunk on theatrical exhaustion. I mean it, Michael. It really is the best thing we've ever done, and I'm very, very proud of you. I'm proud of my guy. So yeah, February 25th, you can see that premiere on YouTube, but that is not the only YouTube premiere we have coming even in February. There's something coming next week that, again, I have been wanting to share with the lot of you for a very, very long time, at least in a free and worldwide capacity. Now, for the past 5 years, Livescream has been in the shackles of a distributor, and finally on January 17th, it returned home to me, which means I can now share it however I want, and that includes worldwide and free. So I'm very happy to announce that Livescream is making its worldwide YouTube premiere on our YouTube channel next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. This is the first film, the full feature film starring Gunnar Willis. And so if you haven't yet gotten a chance to see Livescream because you didn't want to buy a Blu-ray because it was too expensive to ship, or you were locked out of it by being an international fan who couldn't get it on VOD, it is now going to be available. There's going to be some ads at the beginning and probably at the very end, but no mid-roll ads because fuck that shit. This movie is not going to work with mid-roll ads. But the ad rev will help support the film being free on YouTube. It has English subtitles, no other translations, but there will be English subs that came with the original film, as well as... So this is kind of a funny story. This will be uploaded separately, but there will be a Russian dub. And part of that is basically, I noticed that there was a Russian dub on YouTube that some pirates had uploaded and done for a couple years ago. And it didn't have very many views, like maybe 2,000 views. And it was incomprehensible for anybody to watch it in English. I mean, it is a full-on Russian dub. And so I kind of just let it ride because, I mean, English speakers wouldn't be able to get anything out of it anyway. So I didn't really feel like it was taking away from my sales. And also, to be honest, I was a little impressed. It's like, if you're going to pirate my movie, okay, you put in some effort there. So I just sort of let it ride for a couple of years, but I started to get a little bit nervous because, you know, YouTube's system of piracy detection is a little bit finicky. And I was worried that if I uploaded my movie, that it would tell the Russians that I was stealing their film. So I sent them a copyright strike, and I got it taken down. So now, anytime Livescream gets uploaded on YouTube, YouTube knows that it's my movie and it's my content, and it'll flag me and alert me if that happens. But I was sure to download that Russian dub first, so that I can now re-upload it to my channel. So, yeah, I'm gonna have a Russian dub of the film available as well. So that's also going to be posted, on the same day. I'll just post it and label it Russian dub. I gotta figure out how to say the word Livescream in Russian. I can't, how does it work in Cyrillic? I'm not sure. If anybody speaks Russian, give me a suggestion for what the best translation would be, and I will title it that. I pirated from the pirates. Look, if you come for the queen, don't miss. When fan dubs get reclaimed, absolutely. Poldisker can help. Yeah. DM me on Discord. Let me know what the best translation for Livescream would be, because it is a pun. You know I like my English puns. Something tells me live screaming is probably not the literal translation we should go with. Michael's calling me Nintendo, you know? Look, I take after my girl Taylor Swift. It's something Taylor Swift would do, too. All right, so I very much look forward to seeing you next weekend for the Livescream YouTube premiere. That's going to be loads of fun. I will, of course, be in the chat. It'll be a live premiere, so there will be a chat. You can ask me anything in the chat while I'm there, and then it'll be up on the channel for you to watch whenever you want. And I will also be sharing that across the found footage groups and stuff, so maybe we'll have some new folks join the channel who will discover it and, want to watch found footage movies for free. We will see. So speaking of Livescream, that's not the only Livescream news that I have, even for the original film. Now, those of you who were at the Detroit event remember me talking about this, but for the rest of you, this is a pretty big announcement. So, as I said, I have the rights back to the film, which means I can do whatever I want with it. And quite frankly, going back and watching that movie, I still like the movie. I still think it's good. I think people still give me good reviews of it on Letterboxd and stuff, so I hope you enjoy it as it is when you see it next week. But, I just can't leave well enough alone. So, with my newfound Unreal Engine skills that I've developed after making the sequel, Livescreamers, as well as my general filmmaking skills for sound design and other talents that I've acquired over the last 5 or 6 years since I made this movie, I have a vision of how this movie can really be pulled into some next level shit. So I'm remastering this movie from the ground up, redoing the sound design, redoing all of the games, and recapturing all of the gameplay footage, and redoing the chat as well. So about the only thing that's going to be left of the original film is Gunnar Willis's original performance footage. So that will be the same. But everything else is going to be remastered, remade, rebuilt, and hopefully will help make this movie match Livescreamers in quality a little bit more and not feel like it was a movie that I made in my living room. So this has a lot going on. This is going to be a 4K remaster as well as a 5.1 surround sound mix, whereas the original was just a 1080 film in stereo. And on top of that, this is going to get a Blu-ray release and a TVOD release. So this will be available for purchase on Amazon for rental, and it will be available for purchase on Blu-ray. Now, a little thing about the Blu-ray. So the Blu-ray I have of Livescream now, the original film, I'm running low on them. I probably only have about 50 left, and that's including the ones I have to send out in March for those who got them on the Indiegogo campaign. And quite frankly, I'm not invested in getting another lot of them because it did take me 4 years to get rid of the lot that I have, and I am doing this remaster. So I think the best way to do the remaster is to have a remaster Blu-ray collection that also includes the original film. So if you want to see the original film, the remaster Blu-ray is what you would buy. You can watch both or either. I'm not here to judge what you do with the Livescream Blu-ray. There's inevitably going to be people who just really like the original version better because it's lo-fi and creepy and feels like something you would dig up in the gutter of the internet. Some people are into that, as I've discovered with those who still like Livescream better than Livescreamers. But I still think that, for my posterity, there are things that I can improve, even just from a technique standpoint, that make me really want to do the remaster, and hope you guys hang on for that. So while the original film is coming to YouTube for free with ads, the remaster of it will be available later this year for Blu-ray and also for TVOD. Emma's asking about a Blair Toaster remaster. Now, that is not something that has not occurred to me before. We'll see. We'll see about it. Jalula says, I was planning on buying the Blu-ray at some point, so I will wait for that. Yes, I would advise that. If you are planning on buying Livescream on Blu-ray at any point, I'd just wait for the remaster. It's going to be pretty soon in the year. I'm hoping the summer. But at this point, I don't want to put dates on anything because God only knows we have a lot going on this year. I haven't even gotten to some of this other stuff that I have going on this year. Some of the other stuff that's happening this year, I can't even announce today because I know I have to announce it later on. My Walt would be ready for a Toast remake. So I would not remake Blair Toaster. What I would do is I would pull my original footage off the old mini DV tapes and go through all the raw footage again and see if there was a longer extended cut and maybe an HD up-res that I could do of it. But that's kind of it. That's about the only thing. Although it would be kind of funny if I reshot the entire film in exactly the same way as a 32-year-old. That would probably be pretty funny. But no, I already made a sequel. We're not doing that. On to the next. I'm already remaking these shorts, okay? So, and by remake, I mean re-edit. I'm not reshooting anything new, I think, for these films, but Devil's Advocate, Psychoacoustics, and Ohm are getting a facelift in what I call the redo trilogy. And I have a trailer for you today of what exactly that's going to look like.
I believe in what I can see.
What about what you can hear?
Did you know that this is what happened to me?
There you have it, the redo trilogy, and here are our release dates. Psychoacoustics Remastered. You might notice that that one has a bit of an aspect ratio shakeup. Those of you who are on my Patreon stream where I was kind of going through the footage and thinking about what I was going to do for these remasters, noticed that I was strongly considering making it 4:3, just based on the way that it was shot. 4:3 kind of serves it better than any sort of widescreen or even 16:9. So Psychoacoustics gets a recolored and much better sound enhanced 4:3 remaster. Devil's Advocate probably has the most subtle changes. Definitely kind of a denoising, a sharpening, a slight color adjustment, but we call this the extended cut because there is a minute of footage that did not originally make it into the film for time that I'm going to be adding a bit of it back into the film, so a little bit more expansion onto that story, as well as just a much better sound facelift as well for that one. Already starting to see the dialogue sound better in that remaster, and that is coming in August. And then we have Ohm, Love is Resistance. Now, this was not the original title of the film. Originally, it was Ohm, a Resistance short film, but what I discovered about Ohm is that there was a lot of chemistry between Tierney Breedlove and Sarah Callahan Black in that film. And I sent it to Sarah, actually. I sent her some clips, and I was like, Sarah, this movie's gay as hell. How did we not realize? And she's like, oh, I support this. I support this wholeheartedly. And so Ohm is going to get a massive recontextualization from a thematic standpoint and a story one. This one's going to be the most interesting for me to kind of go back and change. But at the center of it all is the relationship between these two women and how love ultimately is the best resistance. And that is coming in October because it's going to take me the longest because it is the most different. It's Redux, but she's doing some clever wordplay with it. I don't think it should be pronounced Redux. That sounds reductive. Michael Smallwood says, I'm not surprised they have chemistry. Those two are really talented. Yes, that was the first film I ever worked with Sarah Callahan Black on at all. We shot that in 2017. That movie is 7 years old now. And Tierney Breedlove I have not worked with. Well, actually, that's not true. Tierney was the voice of the agent on the phone in Femme Fatale. So I got to work with her a little bit again, but she is massively talented indeed. Octomom says she shot a bunch of footage with that one. I was there, but not actually in that film. Yeah, that one was one that, the reason you have never seen the original version of that film, most of you, is because I basically buried it because I don't like the way that the original film came out. It was the film that I was notoriously unhappy with, even at the time, even when I finished it. And so I'm taking another crack at it and seeing if being a little older and having a little bit better cemented idea of what I want to say with that sort of story will help lead me into the right direction of this micro short Ohm. Sarah is due for a feature film lead. Very talented woman. If you haven't seen her as Gwen in Livescreamers yet, absolute aces. Does a fantastic job. All right, we have a couple more things to talk about, but I will say that both of them are tremendous. Now, this next one is something that, again, if you were in Detroit, you heard me talk about. If you have been on Patreon and you know, on my streams, I've kind of been hinting at it. If you're an annual member, and I needed to tell you that, hey, you need to maybe not be an annual member anymore. You've heard me sort of hint at this. So basically, Patreon, as we know it on our end, is going to be closing at the end of the year. I'm closing the Octopunk Patreon, but don't fret, something is coming to replace it. Now, there's a lot of motivations for why I'm doing this. First of all, Patreon takes a pretty big percentage of my earnings, and I think I would rather just not have that happen. Patreon is limited in their features. I quite frankly don't like Patreon's app. They keep making it worse, and I think some of you have been complaining about that for years as well. And really, as a platform as a whole, I don't really have faith in putting such a large income source as well as a community base on a third party that could collapse at any time. As we've seen in the past couple of years, social media has continued to implode in on itself, as well as becoming less friendly for the content creators who support it, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or Twitch, or certainly Twitter. So I want to build my own shingle and have you all come to a place where we can build together. And that place is called OCTOPUNX. Now, this is a new home coming fall 2024. I'm eyeing October or November, but again, things are going to be fluid because release dates are constantly moving around depending upon what ends up taking up my time this year. Lots of moving targets, but this will absolutely be by the end of this year because I am going to be closing the Patreon. Now, octopunx.tv is going to be the URL. If you go there now, there's nothing there. But this will eventually be the new membership site that will be a one-stop shop for all members of the current Patreon, but also anybody else who wants to join for a lot of new things that I can't currently offer through Patreon. And what does that include? So first of all, we have exclusive streaming access to Livescreamers, the remaster of Livescream, and Lazzo in this first year. And by year one, I mean the first 12 months that OCTOPUNX will be open. So fall 2024 through fall 2025. Livescreamers will actually be available day one. That is our opening launch title. So if you are international and you want to see Livescreamers on streaming without having to spend shipping on a Blu-ray, this will be available worldwide if you become a monthly member or annual member of OCTOPUNX. And so all members of the website, all paying members of the website will be able to access our library of stuff, and Livescreamers is among that. So this is my most elegant solution for folks who want to have streaming and VOD access anywhere in the world, while also not putting it on a platform that's limited by region, and also not putting it on a platform that's free like YouTube. The Livescream remaster, as I said, will also be available on there. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be day one, but it'll be pretty soon after launch. I think that it'll probably be like a 3 to 4 month window for Blu-rays and TVOD before this comes to the streaming platform. And then Lazzo will be available first on OCTOPUNX before eventually becoming a public release down the line. Kind of the way that I did Femme Fatale and What a Beautiful Wedding and a lot of other shorts that were paywalled by Patreon before they eventually came to YouTube. Dimmy Silver says, so exciting, especially since OCTOPUNX is the only thing I use Patreon for. Yeah, a lot of people agree, and so if it's kind of like you're on one membership site anyway, may as well be this. Also, we've got a lot of new monthly stuff coming, in addition to the backlist of content and films that I already have. Now, the first year, I plan on doing a new thing every month. And this is kind of why OCTOPUNX is so exciting to me, because instead of having like a film a year, I'm going to be releasing full seasons of unscripted stuff. I'm going to be releasing a bunch of specials. Every month, there will be something new on OCTOPUNX. That is the vision. So Breakout Roles is going to be somewhere between 6 to 8 episodes of live single shot tabletop RPGs with a bunch of your favorite actors. And we are literally going to be getting around a table and interacting in person and filming this kind of the way that like Critical Role does. But it is going to be actors, and they're all going to be one-shots. And so instead of doing ongoing campaigns, and instead of it being D&D, these are going to be quirky things like we're used to doing on Breakout Roles on YouTube, like a Fast and Furious RPG, or one where me and Greg are sitting across from each other trying to repair a mech and talking about our feelings. That kind of stuff. I love those sorts of tabletop RPGs, and it'll be really cool to be able to film those in person with other actors and with other folks, and bring a full season of Breakout Roles to you guys week to week. Also, Ships and Giggles, same way. I'm going to be doing a live kind of in-studio version of Ships and Giggles. I would also like to have an actual in-person audience for this. We've run live Ships and Giggles before at Atomicon a couple times with good success, and so we're going to be knocking out about 6 to 8 episodes, 30 minutes a piece of this as well. It's like old school Whose Line Is It Anyway? So that one's really, really fun. I'm really glad to be able to bring back hopefully a lot of our typical cast of Ships and Giggles, like Michael Daly, Rune Vaughn, Michael Whaley, and Michael Smallwood. They will all be invited to participate in Ships and Giggles as our core cast, but I also want to have a few guest cast members as well throughout the filming of that. Then what is this one? This Claws Out. This is a new show. This is what I call Hot Ones, but fem. Basically, this is an interview show, a traveling interview show, where I'm going to go around and interview folks that I look up to. So while a lot of these other shows feature my friends, previous collaborators, Claws Out's a little different. It's focused on folks who I might know as an acquaintance, folks who are like friend of a friend, but folks I really look up to and who I think are very, very interesting as interview subjects. But the twist is that while we're doing the interview, we're both painting our nails. As you might know, nail art is kind of one of my little hobbies that I do. I go very hard for my nail art, and so I'm going to be picking some slightly complex designs to do our fingernails with, and we'll be trying to attempt some beautiful nail art while I interview them with the deep questions. So hopefully this will be in year one. This will probably be an abbreviated season because it will require me to travel and really find some very, very specific subjects to interview. But that will be within the first year plan as well. Continuing our year one plan, Breakout Roles crossed with 7 Deadly Sins. So those of you who've been here a minute know that I have, in the background, wanted to work on a 7 Deadly Sins tabletop RPG for a minute. Like literally 3 years ago, we announced that we were going to do one, and then Austin decided he needed to go to college and couldn't work on it. But that is coming back. It is coming back to the roster of development, 7 Deadly Sins tabletop RPG, and what better way to trial run a 7 Deadly Sins RPG but to throw it to Breakout Roles and do a live play of it. So this is going to be a special edition of Breakout Roles that we're definitely going to do, where we trial our 7 Deadly Sins tabletop RPG before it is released to the public. So while I can't announce really officially that 7 Deadly Sins tabletop RPG is on our slate for 2024, because that's definitely not going to be coming out to you guys until 2025, know that that is in development, and that is a special that will be part of the Octopunk slate. Now, this next one is something you might have heard me allude to if you've been following me for a while, or I've mentioned it on Patreon, but I have wanted to, for a minute, make a documentary or even docuseries about my life as a filmmaker, charting my childhood all the way through Lazzo. It has been quite a journey, both emotionally, physically, and esoterically over 30 years of wanting to be a filmmaker, and I definitely have enough BTS content from the 10 plus projects I have worked on at this point, as well as my childhood, to make this into like a 6 or 7 part docuseries that I'm calling simply the Octopunk. This will be coming out hopefully next summer, later in 2025. But it will be a very intimate look with a bunch of never before seen behind the scenes footage from some of the films that you love and are familiar with, as well as some stuff you've never seen before, such as the full day of coverage we shot for Ohm and all of my childhood stuff as well. I also want to do a bunch of interviews with folks for this, and, you know, weave that in as well. I have a very particular vision for how I want to present this. I really want you to understand kind of what it's like inside my head, and what the toll of being a filmmaker can kind of be, even when it is the thing that you feel that you are meant to do. So a very intimate look at my life. Really excited to present that, and put that together over the next year and a half and share that with you as part of OCTOPUNX. And then finally, we've got The Outcast, written by a kid, performed by adults. This is the first in a series of juvenilia scripts that I am planning on rounding up a bunch of my best actor friends and doing a live read of the scripts that I wrote when I was in middle school. The Outcast was the first script that I ever wrote. It is basically Harry Potter if there wasn't magic. And it is innocent and silly and dumb in the way that only an 11-year-old could write. This is going to be a one-off special that I can't even really describe to you what this is, but if you saw Meet the Gods in Detroit, it's not that far off from that sort of energy of, wow, children are very silly. I already have a role for Michael Smallwood. I don't know if he's in the chat still, but I want him to be one of my leads here. my nerdy lead male actor who becomes completely unhinged by the end of the script. It's great. And I will, of course, be playing my self-insert Mouse, because that was what I wanted everybody to call me at the time, but no one did. This is my The Room, Michael. I'm just gonna say this is Michelle Antoino's The Room. It is so ridiculously earnest and so ridiculously dumb. I adore The Outcast. If I have to say, of all the things I'm presenting today, this is my favorite. This is my favorite of the things that I am sharing. So look forward to that in year one. Now, what else do we have other than this gallery? Because I want OCTOPUNX to be a one-stop shop for the entire community. The first one is the OctoWiki. Now, that's not going to be available at launch, but over year one, I hope to build out what is essentially a fandom wiki of Livescreamers, of Detroit, of Lazzo, of all of our different worlds that I have created and been part of in the past few years, including Paradisa and some of those others, so that you can connect the dots, read the bios of your favorite actors, and just kind of have a place that is the lore center of OCTOPUNX. Also, fan galleries. I want a place for you guys to be able to share your work, whether it's archiving old work that you've already made and sharing new stuff that you develop along the way. I definitely want to have a gallery for fan art. I would also love to have a archive for fan fiction. So we'll see if that's probably a little bit more complicated, but that'll be in development as well. And as part of the membership, I want you to be able to comment on the films and videos that I post in the streaming archive, but also comment and interact and be part of the community with each other's work too. So it might have a little bit of Amiibo energy a little bit. It might even host it through that. But I want it to be a place where, you know, if you want to meet other OCTOPUNX fans, you can go to octopunx.tv and become a member, even a free member, and be able to interact with the community. Michael says, write whatever you want in the Michael Smallwood wiki entry. I will not edit it. Obviously, he's a ghost. Delula says, shall we do an archive for the Art Fest we did? The DE Art Fest, Octopunk Advent, and D3 Art Fest. That is a fantastic idea. So that's kind of the idea, yeah, so that we can have specific galleries where people can upload the Art Fest archives. So if you want to just troll through what we did for Art Fest, if there's probably going to be a Synthsona gallery when we did Synthsonas. Yeah, and as Delula mentioned, it's Synthsonas. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. So we can have a place where we can show all the work that's been done over the past 5 years that you guys have contributed. And it's all going to be on a volunteer basis. I'm not going to upload anybody's art. You have to upload your own, or upload, I guess, somebody else's with permission, maybe. So it's going to be on a volunteer basis, but get the word out and tell people that if they want a place to preserve their art for the community to go and revisit and see. Again, if social media fails, if Twitter breaks or something, anything you posted on Twitter is gone. Anything you might have posted on Instagram might die at some point. So this is going to be an evergreen gallery where it's another place on the internet where you can make sure to preserve your work. I'm really about like the preservation of transformative works. This is why Archive of Our Own is so important as well. And so I kind of want to have our own little mini like Archive of Our Own on Octopunx. Also, merch store, one-stop shop. No more like Redbubble this and Etsy that. I'm probably going to still keep those storefronts up, but this is like your one-stop shop where anything new that I make for merch will be available for this store. The shipping will be really straightforward, and the discounts and everything will be really straightforward as well. Probably just going to host that through Shopify. And then exclusive live streams. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, but I would like to do live streams that are only available for members, as well as a few public live streams that anybody can watch. Continued membership patches. If you have not got your 5-year patch this year and you're not going to reach tenure this year, do not fret, because all of your tenure from Patreon will carry over to the new website. So if you've been on Patreon for 48 months, you're going to start off on Octopunx as a 48-month member. You will not lose your loyalty or your tenure. I will make sure that the system recognizes you as having the loyalty that you have had all this time. So this is not a fresh start there. As well as Roku and Fire TV apps. I thought about doing Android and Apple apps, but I think the best route to that is absolutely just to have an optimized mobile website, and so you can watch it. Anything you want to watch or do, you could probably do directly through the browser site on your phone. You don't need a separate app for it. And God knows we don't need separate apps for every single website. That's kind of one of my pet peeves anyway. But in the first year, I want to develop out Roku and Fire apps so you can watch on your television. This is one of my big pet peeves with anything like, Rooster Teeth First or like things like that, where I don't want to plug my HDMI on my laptop into my television. Just let me watch it on my television. And so it's important to me to have access to TV for you to just be able to, boot up your device and be able to go to your app and be able to watch our stuff seamlessly like you would on Netflix or any streaming service. Then finally, what is all this going to cost and what does it include? Back in Detroit, I talked about, still being in development. I got some feedback from y'all, and here we go. This may be a little subject to change, but this is what I'm looking at right now. Anybody can join the site as a member for free. Anybody can make an account and participate in the community features. You can access public streaming library, including things like Detroit Evolution and prior live streams, such as like Hotful Boyfriend and other things we've done like that will be cross-posted over from YouTube. The Detroit movies will always be free because that's the nature of them being fan films, but I still probably will host them on Octopunx for posterity. Also, ability to comment on videos, access to any public live streams we do, posting and commenting on fan galleries, and occasional merch coupons through the members-only email list. But if you're a friend of Octopunx and a $4.99 a month member or $49.99 annually, you can save 2 months by going annual. You get all the prior benefits plus access to the full streaming library, which includes the new monthly releases like Ships and Giggles, Breakout Roles, Claws Out, The Outcasts, and Livescreamers, and the previous archive of streaming films that will be paywalled behind the friend level. You also will get your annual iron-on member patches shipped out once a year, Discord role of friend, exclusive live streams only available for paid members, always ad-free, and 10% automatically off merch purchases in the merch store. And then we have the VIP benefit. And I didn't really know what to do with VIP because I wanted to make it a little easier on myself than what I've typically been doing with Patreon. I really do a lot for higher levels on Patreon. I ship things out every single month. And so part of this is also trying to make things a little bit more streamlined for me to not have so much that I could potentially get behind on. Now, the VIP level is $16.99 a month, which is sort of splitting the difference between the $10 and $25 levels that we currently do on Patreon. It includes the Discord role of VIP, additional VIP perks at Octopunk Live events, so any future sort of Octopunk Live events like Detroit, New York, and Europe that we may do in the future, you'll have some benefits there. But the big one is that every November and May, I will send out a swag box with autographs, merch, other exclusives, Polaroids. Each box will be themed around a specific movie or other theme that we may choose. And those are locked to November and May. So, if OCTOPUNX launches in November, then VIPs for that month will get their box immediately. If OCTOPUNX launches in October, it'll still be November. But basically, whether you're month to month or annual, November and May, if you are a member during those times, you will get a swag box, as well as 20% off merch automatically in the merch store. Now, this is also $179.99 annual, plus the shipping for each box. So you will have to pay shipping additional. I figured that's just the fairest way to do it. I was trying to work out a price that would just sort of universally cover shipping, but with only shipping them out twice a year, as well as trying to keep the price kind of halfway between my two upper tiers on Patreon, and actually less than many of you are used to paying annually on Patreon. I figured doing shipping a la carte in November and May was pretty fair, and it seems like you guys were pretty willing to front the bill for the shipping a la carte like that after getting some feedback for you. So there you have it. Those are our membership levels. They're pretty straight and to the point. I hope that this jibes with y'all. I hope you're excited about it. The fact that you can see Livescreamers day one for a $4.99, monthly membership worldwide is pretty cool, because in theory, you could just do it for a month and then cancel, and you would be seeing Livescreamers for the same price as it would cost to go rent it on Amazon, but it's just more accessible, and you can comment on it, and you can interact with it, which you can't do on Amazon. So, I'm hoping that this is a lot. I really am excited as well to bring monthly stuff like Shits and Giggles. And I will say, if you're wondering, well, how the heck are you going to pay for this? So my plan is to launch a crowdfunding campaign in June to start financing kind of that first year of material. The good news is it's not going to be terribly expensive to do things like Shits and Giggles or breakout roles, because they can be shot pretty fast. But we'll probably be starting our tier at about $5,000 on the crowdfunding campaign, and that'll guarantee Shits and Giggles and Breakout Roll Season 1, and then all of the other stuff will be guaranteed at just sort of stretch goals. So yeah, that's basically the plan. More information coming about that later in the year, so keep an eye out for that crowdfunding campaign in June, and we'll have lots of perks and stuff available for that too. Perks related to OCTOPUNX. You'll probably be able to pre-register an annual membership for cheaper than $49.99 or $179.99, or pre-reserve a 3-month membership or something like that. Maybe you can get a membership for yourself and a gift membership. Any feedback you have on that sort of perks you want to see on that campaign, definitely let me know. Also, I'm not doing any sort of perks for Lazzo because we're not crowdfunding for that. So I might be throwing in some perks from the Lazzo set and the Lazzo production on that crowdfunding campaign too. So lots of fun stuff coming in June in association with that. It's not going to be my most ambitious crowdfunding campaign, but that's okay. If I could raise anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000, that would really help launch a full year of stuff for you guys to enjoy while OCTOPUNX makes the changeover from Patreon and starts to find its audience and its member base to support itself and support stuff coming down the pipeline for the indefinite future. So there you have it. That is OCTOPUNX. That is our new home coming at the end of the year. Really, really excited about that, and more information coming. But I do have one more announcement, and this one is probably the one that I might be most excited about, because this is new territory. I've been saying that one of the things that has defined 2024 for me and Octopunk is that I'm really putting the media into Octopunk media, meaning new horizons, new ways of telling stories, whether that be on a new platform or whether that be in a completely different medium. Now, I teased this a little bit on Instagram, at least without the text, and those of you who are discerning could probably think that this has something to do with Livescreamers, but what you might not realize is that Livescreamers House of Souls, which is another big project going to be released sometime this year, God willing. Maybe a little bit early into 2025. No release date yet, but it is currently heavy in development, is the first video game from Octopunk. So this is my first official, actual video game. And it's not what you think it is. A lot of people ask me all of the time, can you adapt Livescreamers into a game? I want to play the game that they're playing, you know, walking around the mansion like that I made in Unreal Engine. And I tell them all the time that, no, you don't, because it's on Rails. There's nothing there for us to really explore within the mansion or within the set or within any kind of like environment that I've already built, you know, for the movie. But that's not to say that there's not something interesting to do with the characters and with the story. So what Livescreamers House of Souls is a 2D branching narrative interactive fiction. And when I say interactive fiction, I don't mean like Hatoful Boyfriend, where it's like a story that's on Rails. When I say branching, I mean that this is basically a visual novel version of Until Dawn. You will be able to play as 6 different of the Livescreamers characters, including some you may not expect. And also maybe a 7th one and a secret ending. And depending upon who you choose to play as, your results and your journey can be wildly different. Any of the 9 characters can become the sole survivor of the story. Again, including some you may not expect. So if I'm trying to speak without spoiling the film. Not all of you have seen Livescreamers yet. I will speak without spoiling the film. But basically, yeah, you'll be able to play as most of the characters in the cast. There are a couple you can't play as for like narrative reasons that will make sense with the story. But the way I have branched this out, I have done an outline. I have done a flow chart of all of the different pathways, and so far, I think I have about like 36 different ending scenarios, as well as 22 or 23 different ending states. Like if for those of you who've seen Livescreamers and sort of know how the movie ends and sort of that final scene can kind of look 23 different ways. It is going to be massively complex, and also give you a deep dive into the characters and the psyches of these characters, like never before. I mean, you'll be able to see the internal monologue of anybody that you can play as and really be along the ride for all of them and make them make choices on your own volition too. Some pretty major choices, some pretty major branches throughout the story. The reason they're in silhouette now is because their character art isn't quite done. Basically, I have done the character art, but I am in talks with a state agency who could potentially get me hooked up with a 2D artist for hire, that I could hire basically full-time for a temporary position. And with all of my Lazzo students being so talented, I already have a couple in mind who I maybe want to bring on to be the artist, the character artist, or possibly full artist for this project. So the artist's still TBD. I don't want to show anything off yet, particularly when their art would undoubtedly be better than mine. But I will be writing this entire game and also doing all of the programming in Unreal. Captain Anders says, can we play as the house? Maybe? Smallwood says, I don't think I knew about this. Well, surprise, babe. Yeah, so this is, it is not voice acted. I can say that. So I will not be calling upon any of the actors to do any work because I can't afford that. And I will also not be crowdfunding this. This is going to be completely in-house, so completely done in a combination of my own work and my own, like, not paying myself to make our own assets, or my 2D artist will be sponsored by the state. They will be paid an hourly rate of like $17 an hour tax-free, which is pretty decent, to do the work as a full-time, like 3-month position to do all of the character and background art for this game. So really, really excited, hoping that it'll work out with this agency. That's basically why I don't have a release date yet, is because I need to sort of figure out when that art section of things is going to actually happen. Hopefully it'll be over the summer, which means you could get this game as early as like September or October maybe. But should that not happen, it may be early 2025 or later in 2024. So we'll see. I'm really excited about that, though. I have wanted to make a video game forever, and I think that this is a really ambitious from a narrative standpoint, but obtainable from a game development standpoint way to do it, to sort of start with a visual novel that most of the programming is branching logic. And if you like Until Dawn, if you liked Doki Doki Literature Club, if you liked Hatoful Boyfriend, because it does take some inspiration from Hatoful Boyfriend, if you find all the pathways, you might unlock a secret path that you can't do otherwise before you see the rest of the game. You know, maybe you need to learn things through all the different timelines before you can do that final one. You know, I love Hatoful Boyfriend. I think Hatoful Boyfriend is great, Michael, and I think that my game should take inspiration from it and all of its brilliance. There's a route where you play as the pigeons, as Warden Mages. Look, stop giving me gold here. I'm just gonna steal it. Yeah, Brittany says, sort of like Until Dawn's butterfly effect. Absolutely. Yeah, we have a bunch of branching, or Detroit Become Human, really. Like, I kind of want it to be a little bit of Detroit Become Human, where, like, you make decisions as one character at the beginning, and that has consequences for other characters down the line. There's affinity meters as well in this game, where things that you say and things that you do affect your relationship status with other characters, and it might just make the difference between whether or not that character decides to save you from a monster later in the game. So, as well as the fact that all of the characters each have their items that they choose in the loadout at the beginning of the game, and those items get used at different points depending upon your pathway, and so maybe you have a health kit all the way to the end in one pathway and it saves your life, or maybe the health kit gets used in Act 1 and then you're fucked. All sorts of things to think about in this game. Super, super cool. As you can tell, I'm really excited about it. This is one of those things that, like, I've wanted to do. I finally started charting it out. I was just in a frenzy till 4 a.m. charting it out because it was so fun to basically rewrite the movie in a couple dozen different ways and just see what would have happened under different scenarios, and kind of under scenarios where different characters had been the main character. What would that have looked like, and what sort of secrets and inner worlds did all of my characters have? If you liked the characters of Livescreamers, I think that this is definitely for you, because you will never get to spend more time with them than with this experience. So that's all I have for today. I hope you've enjoyed this hour-plus long Octopunk Showcase. It is always a big stream. But as I've said, we've got Livescreamers coming out to Blu-ray and VOD in May. Indiegogo rewards ship in mid-March. And then if you're international and want to watch it on VOD, stay tuned for Octopunx launching later in the year, where that will be available for our monthly streaming subscription. We've got Lazzo's incredible cast coming up on our March shoot, and Lazzo will continue to be in development, and I'll keep you updated about the progress of that. What a Beautiful Wedding is coming to YouTube Sunday, February 25th at noon. Be there. Or, at the very least, be at Livescream's YouTube premiere as well on Saturday. Next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, the premiere will be posted to YouTube for you to bookmark and save probably sometime this weekend, pretty shortly. Livescream's coming to a remaster later in the year on Blu-ray and TVOD. The Redo trilogy is going to be launched on YouTube throughout the year, June, August, and October. As I said, Octopunk, various membership levels, and various amazing things that we can look forward to coming later in the year. Our new home away from home. And then finally, Livescreamers House of Souls, our video game in development. And this isn't even everything. There are still a couple of things in development that will be announced over the next coming months that we just got to lock down before we can really start sharing the news. But it is a very, very big year for myself. It's a big year for Octopunk, and it is a very big year for new forms of media and new ways to tell stories. As always, I thank you for coming to another showcase, for sticking with me for another year. I'm very excited to take you on the journey of 2024 and give you all sorts of stuff after a couple of years being away, buried in the pits trying to finish Livescreamers. And as always, stay great, hydrate, and have a happy time zone.